online editor here, not he. So it's been almost a week since the Arnold Classic. I want to give you guys a chance to let the butthurt flow through you. Cry, bitch, moan, because unless you're a big Samson Dauda fan, you are very upset because your favorite guy didn't win. Your guy was robbed. Judges suck. Don't know what they're looking at. So I thought I'd give you guys a chance. I'll read your comments, and some of you guys might have good cases for your guy winning. I agreed with the decision, but I also said that Nick looked phenomenal. I wouldn't have been upset if Nick Walker had won. Andrew jacked, even though in retrospect, looking now, he does need to work on his posterior chain, develop more hamstring sweep. His side shots, his hamstrings, they're a weak point. His back still needs to be thicker. And overall, I think he needs a little more size. When he fixes that, when Andrew's done, and I keep saying Andrew jacked is a work in progress, when he's quote unquote finished, I don't know who the hell's beating him. I mean, I could see that guy winning multiple Olympia titles, for a while. But, Nick Walker looked phenomenal. Structurally, he's not, doesn't have the same pretty structure as Samson. He does have a longer torso, shorter legs. Everything matters when it's that close and guys are that good. Everything, the judges have to find a reason because you can't have a three-way tie. And of course, we can't leave out Ramy. Ramy looked great. Don't get me wrong. Ramy looked, to me, better than he did when he won his second Olympia in 2021, or at least as good. But he was up against some guys who were no joke. But why'd Ramy place where he did? As far as I was concerned, in his front shots, his relaxed standing and in his front lat spread, the shoulders looked. I'm not accusing him of anything, guys. Relax. They look kind of squared off where they're supposed to be round. Quads are so big, they're actually too big now. They're distracting. Nothing should distract you. No one should have one body part that's so crazy that you just can't take your eyes off it. And every time Ramy was on stage, I kept being drawn to those quads. And I'm someone who, I'm always saying guys need more quads. This is a case where I finally said, this guy needs to chill out, stop training his legs so much, do something, downsize him just a little bit. I think he'd have much better overall balance and proportions if he did that. In fifth place, Sean Clarita looked phenomenal. Got to give the guys props. Friday night, he was only 3 points away from Ramy. Saturday night, he was only 4 points away. It was a very, very close top five. Top three in particular was very, very close. So, all right, let's get to the phones. Picking some Aussie bites from Costco out of my teeth. I just ate. Sorry, excuse me. Cody Jolly, the MD poll for the Open winner before the finals was crazy. Perfectly split between the top three after 1,500 votes. Yeah, it was like 33, 32, and I think Sean had like 2 or something, but it was like a dead heat between 3 guys. That's how close it was. And you saw the final call out. You saw the call outs where it would be the 3 guys over and over. You're just switching them around and around. They all looked phenomenal. Ramy improved a lot, Mac Fitness Trainer. Oh, Ramy looked great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this Ramy was so much better than the Ramy that was at the Olympia just 10 weeks before that. Huge improvements. I don't know if it was the stem cells or we actually had a good MD Power Hour with Milos. So it's Giles Thomas and I do the show called MD Power Hour. It comes out every Monday. And last night we had Milos Sarshev as our guest. We talked for about an hour and 20 minutes. We went through everything, guys, because I hadn't talked to Milos since Samson won. I talked to Samson briefly Sunday morning, but I hadn't seen Milos at all after the win. So, he backed up his case of why he felt Samson should win. And, Giles got into it with him. It was a very lively, I won't say heated, it was a lively discussion. We didn't all have the same opinions, and that's the way it should be. It's boring if 3 people just sit there and agree with each other, right? Ramy was robbed. He should have been compared. It says, my flavor? Yeah, I could see why I'd say that, but in the final call out, Saturday, it was for their confirmation round. It was the top 3 and Ramy, and everybody got moved to different spots. So he did get compared. He didn't get compared Friday night at the initial judging. Didn't really get compared to the top 3 guys. He was moved off to the side, and that's where he stayed. So yeah, I mean, out of respect, I mean, I would have. I'm not a head judge, obviously. I would have given him I would have moved him in the middle just once, just for his fans. And just to give him a chance so people couldn't come back and say he was never compared. You don't want people, if I was a head judge, I wouldn't want people to come at me later and say, you never compared him to. I would give him like one chance just so people couldn't say that. You know my flavor. The IFBB is screwing Rami. I don't even like his physique, but he's getting ignored on purpose. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. Mac Fitness Trainer, again, special thanks to you and Doc T for doing a great job for bodybuilding. God bless you guys. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys don't know, I mean, hopefully all you watching know, we do a show it posts every Tuesday morning. I record it every Monday morning with Dr. George Souliatos. He's over in Greece. And we do a Q&A show called Ask Dr. Testosterone. So we take the questions from the comment section of every video, and then the next week we answer those questions. But thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. You know my flavor. Again, I looked at the pictures, and he looked better here than at the 2021 Olympia, Rami. I agree. And he won that Olympia. I think they were much harsher on him. Yeah, I mean, sorry, man. I still got some crap in my teeth. Sorry. I don't know, you know. I can't imagine they don't like Rami. I mean, he's been to Weinberger's gym a few times. You know, as Mr. Olympia, he gets very close to the IFBB, NPC officials. He's around them a lot. He's a superstar. He's, you know, one of the most popular bodybuilders of this generation. Certainly probably the most popular in that part of the world, Middle East. So I don't think they would screw him over. They know it would upset too many people. Why can't you imagine? Let's see. He also says, you know, why can't you imagine he missed the Pittsburgh Pro? He has never, to this day, and that was last May, to this day, almost a year later, Rami has never said why he didn't go to Pittsburgh Pro. Dennis James, he kind of hinted, saying he couldn't go. But that could be, well, was he sick? Was he in jail? Was he, you know, who knows? I don't know. Why couldn't he go? I'm just surprised that we've never gotten any, even like a bullshit fake, a lie, some kind of explanation, but we never even got that. We got nothing. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why he didn't go to Pittsburgh. Nobody knows except for Rami and his close friends or a close inner circle. And they're pretty good at keeping secrets because we never heard about why they didn't go. Dane, what's up, Dane? Steve's quick call-outs lead me to believe that the symmetry around quarter turns are being judged but not shown on the scorecard. Yeah, I don't think they are. I don't think those are judged. It's not judged. That's not a judged round. That's really for them to get their first look at everybody so the head judge can decide who he wants to call out in the first call out once they do start judging. So that, I don't believe that is judged at all. So the very first thing in the show, everybody comes out in groups. So if there's 15 guys, 5 guys come out, it's just numerical order, quarter turn. They don't hit all the mandatory poses. Head judge, usually Steve, they'll call out a couple poses. They'll call like maybe a front double bicep, a back double bicep, maybe one more, and then they send them off in the next group. But it's really just to get an initial look at them so they can decide before, because they don't want to waste too much time. Once the guys are all lined up and ready for the first call out, they can't sit there for like very long because everyone's like, let's go. So that's what that's all about. Do you think Rami looked too imbalanced? Giannis retracted. Ryan Stack, you think Rami looked too imbalanced with his quads, upper body? Seemed like his legs were so overpowering. Yeah, that's what I said in the very beginning of this when I started a few minutes ago. His legs are so big that they're a distraction. They're so huge. And like I said, I'm a big fan. I was a huge Tom Platz fan. I knew the late Paul DeMeo. I'm all for giant quads, guys. Don't get me wrong. That's like the only body part I ever had that was freaky back in my heyday was quads. But if it's distracting from the flow of the physique, nothing should be so overpowering that you're focusing on it. Like no one should have such huge arms that it makes other things look smaller, or legs, etc. Nothing should be way out of proportion. That's the goal of bodybuilding is, you know, you want to be big, but you want to be big proportionally, every body part in proportion to everything else. So you can't have massive shoulders and a flat chest or vice versa, you know, everything has to be in balance. Let's see. Let's go back. Match Hunter. Rami, do you remember Pittsburgh? Rami's not watching as far as I know. It's Rami's arms, I think that's the issue. They're down a little bit. The triceps still aren't as volumized, as round and full as they were. That's an issue for sure. He's on the way back, though. I do believe his physique's coming back to, you know, full, if not 100%, much closer than it was, because I already see improvements. But Milos said last night when we were talking that he just thinks it was Rami coming in fuller. He was flat at the last Olympia. So he doesn't think the stem cell treatments did anything that significantly we would notice visually. It was just the fact that he was fuller this time. And that's what filled out the lats and a little bit of the triceps. And the calves were much bigger for some reason. You know my flavor. Let's see, never. Mac Fitness Trainer, never missed any shows. Love and support from Pakistan. Thank you. It's got to be very late over there right now in Pakistan. You know my flavor? No, they aren't. The judging is not. Yeah, he means that first round isn't judged. It's not really a round. The judging is not transparent at all. They really need to release the scorecards after judging and also judge 3 rounds so you can see and judge them on mistakes. Well, they don't want to release the scores when the show is like only half over because then there's going to be so much controversy and they need to focus on finishing the judging the next day. I wouldn't advise doing that. Dane, first look, Steve moves them before front double. That's why I think that. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, he moves. Usually they'll move people for that first call out based on how good they think they look. So if there's a call out with 5 guys or 6 guys and one guy's clearly not in anywhere close to being the winner, and he's in the middle, Steve or whoever the head judge is, they'll usually move that guy off to the side and let, the guys that they're really looking at for the win, put them in the middle so they can have a better look at them. Judging is hard. I would never have wanted to judge that show. No. My God. Let's see. You know my flavor, symmetry round, muscular area round, posing round. That's how it used to be. It's not like that anymore. If you look at the score sheets, if you go to ifbbpro.com, they have score sheets for all the shows, and you can see that they don't have posing round judged anymore. Symmetry round's not judged anymore. Bojan Životek. Must be from Serbia, I'm guessing, Bojan. Why is everyone ignoring obvious SEU use on Rami? Because they're fanboy. If you're a huge fan of somebody, you will ignore anything that's a glaring weak point or a detriment. So yeah, the Rami fans, they don't want to hear about anything that's, yeah. Why is everyone ignoring obvious SEU use on Rami? This was classic punishment for oil use. Only logical explanation why he was ignored in prejudging. Yeah, like I said, the shoulders are funky looking, guys. I'm not saying, I don't know what's in them, but it's very, very likely the judges looked at those shoulders and that was enough to knock him out of contention for even the top 3, because it was very clear after Friday, the top 3 was going to be in no particular order: Andrew Jack, Nick Walker, and Samson Dauda. Rami was not in contention for top 3 based on what we saw Friday night. Dane, again, and this is why I think they're judging symmetry, because they can move Rami so quickly due to the lack of symmetry. Built to laugh, not built to last. Andrew, what a blessing to bodybuilding. So is Samson. Blessing Awodibu, he's the blessing. So is Samson, but Samson needs to keep midsection tight throughout all transitions. I think Samson does a really good job. You never see his gut out. You never see him. If you watch his posing routine, like Milos was saying, you'll notice there's never a point where he looks bad. Like, you could take pictures of him at any point, any transition, he still looks good. He was always in control of everything. Nothing was ever relaxed. Alberto Montejo, judging lacks transparency. It boils down to a case-by-case basis, and they move the goalpost on a whim. Yeah, it's funny because people will say, based on one contest, they'll say, well, now they're going more for symmetry. Oh, they're going for more for mass from now on. There was one show. So for a trend to be, for something to be a trend, a pattern has to emerge. You have to see a repetition of something. Something has to happen a few times in a row, and it's not like that. Best physique wins on the day, and sometimes it's a guy who's more on the symmetrical aesthetic side. Sometimes it's more of a mass monster. There's no consistency in the judging because there's many different types of great physiques, and a lot of those different types of great physiques are capable of winning on any given day. Raymond Jones, did Andrew's calves look like they had synthol? They looked to me like they had something in them. They were very round, like grapefruits. The shape was not like a normal calf shape. I'm not when I say these things, I'm not excusing saying he's got shit in his calves. I'm saying it looked like he had stuff in his calves. I don't know if he did or didn't, but it looked like he did. So if I'm a judge and it's very close between these 3 guys and I can't have a 3-way tie, I got to have a first, second, and third. One guy's got calves that look very suspicious. That might be enough for me to say, okay, well, let's put him in third behind these other 2. And now I got to worry about these 2. Who deserves to win? Because, like I said, the judging that show must have been a freaking nightmare. Match Hunter. Samson is a mix of Nick, muscle, and Andrew, structure, hence he won. Yeah, he had the best combination on that day of size, shape, structure, condition. Were people more conditioned than him? Yes. Were people thicker than him? Yeah, I mean, Nick's thicker. Heavy, he's not heavier. Samson's 297 pounds. That's what he told me. But he had the best total package of all the attributes that they're looking for. The biggest guy doesn't always win, very rarely. The most ripped guy doesn't always win. The guy with the best shape doesn't always win. It's the guy who has the best combination of all those things. Here we go again. D Shore. Who was your pick when you saw the top 5? When I first saw the first call out, I was going for Andrew. Andrew just has this wow factor. And then as I started really scrutinizing it, I said, I don't know. The ham, when he turns to the side, there's like a lack of thickness. He was starting to look, I know it's going to sound crazy to call someone like that stringy. He's not stringy, but he's got such long arms and legs. I do think he needs a little bit more size. He needs to fill out a little bit more, and he needs more back and needs more hamstrings. Like I said, when Andrew has that, when he's in his final form, it's lights out. I don't think anyone's beating him unless some other freak comes along. But let's see. Who'd you pick? Raymond Jones. You think they should increase the weight cap for Classic now? Nope. Hell no. Leave it. Why are they going to keep increasing it just because a couple guys can't make the weight? No. Then they need to leave and take a year off and go to Open or whatever the case may be. There are guys who, I was talking very briefly at the meet and greet. Horse MD from Brazil, Marcelo De Angelis, who was helping translate the interview for me, obrigado, for Ramon. And he's a guy who was in Classic, and he got to a point where he just couldn't make the weight, and now he's taking time off and he's putting the mass on. He's going to come back Open. So if you're that heavy and you can't make the weight, maybe you shouldn't be in Classic. So, sorry. Let's see. Do you think they should increase weight? My flavor, would Derek have beaten Samson? I don't think he would. Samson was extremely improved. It would have been a hell of a fight, man. It would have been a hell of a fight, but we'll never know. I mean, we'll know at the Olympia. They're gonna stand next to each other at the Olympia, but we've never seen them really compared that well. Alone Powers, what's up, Alone? Sitting right behind me, Friday and Saturday nights, sitting next to lovely Isabel Terrell. The fans really had to be there to appreciate that on Friday night. Sean gave Rami a run for his money. Sean was so complete that he highlighted all of Rami's distracting body parts, delts and quads. Yeah. Sean Clarita, what he has that Rami doesn't is he's very balanced. Every body part's in proportion. Maybe he could use a little more chest. And structurally, Rami has much wider shoulders, and obviously he's, 120 pounds heavier. But Sean wasn't missing anything. He's very, very complete. Every body part developed in proportion to everything else. Where am I? Oh, Salon. Yeah. R Stubb, do you think Patrick Moore should have placed higher? Wondering if he's going to shut it down for a year. So who should Patrick Moore have beaten? He was last place. Where's my scores? So here it is. Yeah, sorry. Maybe I should have had that as a reference. So the 10th, it was Samson, Nick, Andrew, Rami, Sean, Akeem, Bonac, Justin, Kamal, and Patrick Moore. Who among those names, who should Patrick Moore have beaten? Should he have beaten Kamal Algarni? Should he have beaten Justin, William Bonac, Akeem? No, he got exactly what he deserved. He looked good, but he wasn't better than any of those other 9 guys. Hence, he placed last. It's a tough show. This is the Arnold Classic. He's won shows before, but it's much, much lesser caliber shows. He's not up against Olympia champions and 212 Olympia champions. This lineup, we had 3rd place in Olympia. We had a 2-time Mr. Olympia. We had 2 different 212 Olympia champions. Bonax won 2 Arnold Classics. I mean, this was no joke, this lineup. Not at all. Kamal won the Arnold 212. Fred P. Vieira. No question, really. Just appreciation for the work you do. Keep us informed. Thank you, Fred. Joe Green. If Samson is first and Andrew is second. No, I mean, because that's... Now you're saying, well, if they're going for symmetry, they're not going for anything. They're not... I don't think the judges ever get together and go, look, this is what we're going to... The head judge goes, we're going to go for mass, or we're going to go... It's not like that. They're going for the best physique, and sometimes it can be like that, which we saw. We saw Samson, more aesthetic physique, although he does have plenty of size. Nick Walker, not very aesthetic, but massive and shredded. 3rd place, Andrew, great condition, very aesthetic. And 4th place, Rami, not very aesthetic, no, massive, shredded. I mean, there's no, it doesn't necessarily go the way you think it's going to go. Dane, what I found interesting is Samson grew and got more condition between the O and this show, yeah. Andrew got more condition, but it didn't appear to grow. Andrew actually looked flatter. He looked a little smaller to me. I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew was about 10, maybe even 15 pounds lighter than he was at the Olympia. I saw him. I didn't go to the Arnold UK, but I was there at Texas Pro when he won that, and I was at the Olympia. He brought a much fuller look to those shows. He was much better conditioned here. So, great job, Chris Aceto, but I think now Now that they've brought him in full, well, actually, Aceto only started working with him for this show. But now that they've brought him in full and ripped, now it's time for him to come in with both. But I still think he needs work on those areas we talked about, and then he's going to be really, really tough to beat. Bojan Zivotek, do you think this is a message to Nick that he will never win the Mr. O? No. He was in great condition, but his proportions are really bad. He has a longer torso than Samson and much shorter legs. Yeah, structurally, he doesn't have a great structure. He does have longer torso, shorter legs. So it's not a perfect structure. Samson has a much better structure. Andrew does. Even Rami has a better structure. But, Nick brings that freak factor. Gobs of muscle, shredded. His posing was much improved. Nick is a much better poser now than he was a year ago. Much better. It's clear that he's been working hard. Must be getting help from somebody because much more polished with his presentation. Better transitions. Everything was better. But no, I would never. I'm not going to say Nick can't win the Olympia. Of course he could win the Olympia. He was third place. If you're taking top 3 in the Olympia ever, you have the potential to be Mr. Olympia. You're the top 3 in the world. That means only 2 people in the world could beat you. So that's where Nick Walker's at. And just because Samson beat him here doesn't mean Nick is never going to beat Samson again. That's crazy to think that. But that's how people are. People will say, well, now he's never going to beat that guy again. No. Guys go back and forth and beat each other multiple times throughout their careers. Jovan Zidu. Any comments on the lighting background this time around? I lost it. Sorry. Any comments on the lighting background this time around? I think the IP would figure this out by now. I thought the lighting was great. They didn't have... The backdrop wasn't all one giant LED screen. It wasn't black. They're never going to have a black curtain, guys. Get over that. Ain't going to happen. I thought it was perfect lighting, very good lighting, and the background didn't distract or take away from the physiques at all. So I think they did a great job with the staging. Ahmed Hajali. I don't know how the judging happened, how we have fans of bodybuilding know the criteria judging. You'd have to go to a lot of shows, really pay attention to how they're being judged, call-outs, comparisons, look at the score sheets. It's not easy. The judges have a very, very difficult job. Dane again, Sean has improved his side shots. His hamstring drop has got much better. Sean's got a great ham drop. So does Rami. Samson's pretty good. Andrew needs a lot more hamstring drop, what we call it. When the hamstring just flies out from the side like in a crescent shape. Andrew's still on the flatter side. Needs more sweep to it, more drop, as they say. Nick won the most poses, most shredded, muscular, says Eric Johansson. It's not about who wins the most poses, and I don't know if I wouldn't. Yeah, he won a few poses over Samson for sure. But, in the end, Samson got a perfect score. So the judges all were in total agreement that he was a deserving winner. When you get his score was 5 on Friday night, 5 on Saturday night. That means first place votes. So there's 7 judges, guys. And if they drop the high score and the low score in case they got a couple knuckleheads that they think the last place guy should be first or something. They drop the high and the low. So if you get a 5, that's a perfect score for one night. And in a 2-day show, we're talking. Second night, a 5 again. And your final score is a 10. You got a perfect score. So the lowest score is the best score. He got it, and that was Samson. But I think Nick wasn't horribly behind. I don't have the score sheet in front of me. Dude, Nick looked great. I'm not taking away from Nick for 1 minute. Mark, I missed the in-depth thoughts and review of guys like Sean Perrine, Jim Schmaltz, or Peter McGuff. Now everybody has an opinion, even though they're not qualified experts. Well, that's, welcome to... In the old days, we had magazines, and you had to be qualified to write for a magazine. Editors had to choose you. And now we have most people don't read. It's mostly YouTube. Any of you guys could start a YouTube channel, a podcast. I see some of them, not the most of the major ones, the guys have an idea what they're talking about. I've seen some where I'm listening to them like, oh my God, they have no idea what they're talking about. These people have never been to a contest. They barely know who the athletes are, but they're making videos and they're getting clicks and views. It's a different world we're in right now. Patrick peaked. You talking about Patrick Moore? Yeah, Patrick looked good. Don't get me wrong, guys. But yeah, he got last place because he was in a lineup with 9 better guys on that day. Bojan Zivotek. We never had Mr. O with long torso, short legs, and short arms. Franco Colombo. That was Franco Colombo, I would say. But and he won it twice. a long time ago. I consider that really big flaw and can't represent body that should win big bodybuilding show. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a Mr. Olympia in recent times who didn't have a really good structure. So let's go back to the Olympias. Rami, good structure. Who's that? Sean Roden, great structure. Phil Heath, shoulders could be a little wider, but they weren't narrow. He had a pretty decent structure. Jay Cutler, great structure. Ronnie Coleman, same. Dorian, same. Lee Haney, same. And then you're going back to, all the Olympias before that. Mafaleva, what a great name. He should have beaten Justin and Kamal. Oh, you're talking about Patrick. Justin is awful. He ruined his physique with oil and steroids. Well, they're all on steroids. Come on. Kamal is so narrow and his legs are so small. Patrick was overlooked. Well, I don't think Patrick was overlooked. Patrick's legs do not match his upper body. He's got a phenomenal upper body. Great arms and shoulders. Tiny waist. Legs do not match. And when I saw him turn pro in 2017, afterwards I said, bring those legs up to match that upper body. And he got bigger, but the proportions stayed the same. And I know he's had issues. He tore his Achilles tendon last summer, but until Patrick brings his legs up to match, and I think he still needs to fill out a little bit more. He's not as thickly muscled as these guys. He's got a great physique, guys, but to say he should have beaten both Justin and Kamal, I don't know. I'm not going to agree to that. Oil and steroids. Ruben Von Verdi, hello, Ron. What does term out-muscle in bodybuilding mean? Can you explain that? That just means somebody's got a lot more size. It's like outmassed or outsized. Same difference. Raphael Dawkins. Let's go down there. Raphael Dawkins, combat radio. Let's be honest. Clarita looked like a fetus. Oh, that's harsh, dude. Come on. Next to many of those on stage, I don't think he was better than Bonac. He was better than Bonac. Bonac wasn't in condition. Sean was shredded. Bonac structurally, he's another one with he has kind of a short torso. Doesn't have short legs, but his torso is on the shorter side, so he's kind of compact looking. Sean doesn't have a perfect structure either. Sean Clarita needs wider clavicles, which you can't change your bones. But structurally, that's the one knock I have on Sean is shots like his front lat spread and his front relaxed. He's not that wide, and his back's not that wide just because he doesn't have the clavicle width to drape around for the lats to come around. Paco Rodriguez, I'm a big fan, Ron. Thank you. You rock. I can't believe somebody with washed out abs and no glutes was able to win the show. You mean Samson? Yeah, Samson's abs, it bothered me. And his front lat spread, his abs were really washed out. I'm not even sure what the problem with that is. Like I said, if you guys want to listen, please listen. Monday at 9:15 a.m., we got the Power Hour. That's Giles, myself, and Milos. And we went deep into the top 5 analysis. And, Milos defended, of course, his position as to why Samson deserved the win. And, we made cases. We played devil's advocate saying, what about this guy? What about that guy? We had a lot of fun. We didn't all agree with each other either. So, Nick M. Patrick peaked too early. He's doing the Cali and other shows. He'll be better, but not good enough to beat the top 5. Yeah, Patrick's a good B-list bodybuilder. There's an A-list and there's a B-list. There's even a C-list. And the C-list is mostly people you've never heard of, but A-list would be guys like, consistent top 10 Olympians, consistent top 6 Olympians. Samson would be up there now. Nick, for sure. Andrew's put himself on that list. Rami, of course. Clarita with 212 Olympia titles, yeah. Akeem, he's been top 6 in Olympia. Bonac, he's been runner-up at the Olympia, 2 Arnold Classic titles. These are A-list guys. Patrick needs to place well in some better shows. I know he got 10th place in Olympia a couple years back, but he needs to beat much better people that's how you build your stock in this game, is by beating better. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. You can't just beat B-level guys and no-name guys at a show. And then, that's why I don't get too excited when we have so many shows. I don't think we're going to have as many this year, but I don't get excited when someone wins one show over, wherever. I'm not going to specify the shows because then the promoters get mad at me, but not every show has a great lineup. Some shows have pretty weak lineups with only a couple good guys in them. You win that show, that's great. But then you go to the Olympia and you're like, last call out. It happened. We saw it at the last Olympia with 30 guys on stage. A lot of the guys who had won everyone had won a show to qualify there except for a couple guys who got there in points. But a lot of the guys who had won shows that had weak lineups, they did not get one look. They never got called out. Or last call out, because this is the Olympia. That was the Olympia. But, I wish Patrick nothing but the best. Haven't talked to him in a long time. I was going to interview him at the meet and greet, but just as I was about to interview him, he cracked open and started eating. And I know he was. It's a problem with all these events these guys have to go to, like the interviews and everything, the meet and greets. They have to eat when they have to eat. So you'd see them sitting there, and people are just waiting to approach them, but they got to get their food in. They're trying to carb up and everything. Ringo Yuri, looks like Japanese. I don't know what language that is, Ringo. Match Hunter Ron, can you explain that one can win all individual poses and still lose when you look at the total package? Well, if you're saying that someone other than Samson, if you're saying like Nick Walker won every pose, he didn't. He didn't win every pose. No, sorry. He doesn't win the front lat spread. He doesn't win the front double bicep. You can make cases for the side shots, maybe. The back shots, maybe. I don't know, but he didn't win. He didn't win all the poses. If that's who you're referring to, Nick Walker did not win every pose. Had he done that, had he been that decisive, the judges would have gone. The judges love Nick. Believe me, they love Nick as much, if not more, than Samson. They would have loved. All those judges know him personally. I think they would have loved to have given the title to Nick, but they didn't feel he deserved it. Brian Lee says, "Yeah, we're not all going to agree, guys. This is opinion. It's an opinion-based sport, so none of us are wrong." Brian Lee, I agree with Ron. Brian, you're a good guy. The judges can only judge what's up on stage at the time of competition. With that being said, there's a surge of tall, aesthetic athletes coming up. Samson, Andrew, Krizo, and others. Yeah, Krizo. I'm really, really anxious to see Krizo this year. I wonder where he's going to qualify for the Olympia. I hope he does New York Pro. I know that's kind of soon. That's coming up. Geez, like six or 8 weeks away. It's not that far away. Yeah, Krizo, because I've only seen Krizo at the Olympia, and he didn't get that great of a look. I'd like to see him at a show like that I'm going to go to, because I'm greedy like that. I'd like to see him doing New York or Chicago or Tampa or Texas. One of these shows where he can really shine. But yeah, we are seeing more good tall bodybuilders lately, which that's a rare thing. But now we're seeing a whole flock of them that are like 6 foot or taller. Ballingy Outdoors. Simpson obviously deserved the win, but Rami's getting overlooked and crucified. He should have went to the Pittsburgh Pro. Sad but true. I don't know. I don't think a judge is going to come out and say, even if they are overlooking him intentionally, which I don't think they are, but even if they were, they're not going to come out and say it. Who would? That'd be awful to say. But I don't think they are. Alberto Montejo, for perspective, Google X-Man Tony Freeman's back and hamstrings. Samson or Andrew will catch up, yet nothing too tall. It's harder for those tall guys for sure. Lisa Alverson, Bob said they dropped too high and too low scores. Well, I think that means because it's 2 nights in a row. It's 2 rounds of judging. Friday and Saturday, they judge twice. So that's why you have too high and too low. Because there's not... If you drop too high and too low, that'd be 9. I don't think there were 9 judges. Maybe there were. Maybe my math is off. It didn't seem to me like there were 9. But if there were 9 and they dropped the too high and the too low, they still get where they get. Franco was short but balanced. Franco did not have the prettiest physique. God, he was, he could pull a vacuum. He had some great body parts. His chest, his back were phenomenal. Arms weren't great. Legs weren't great. Strong as a mother, though. Yeah. Dane, did you see that picture Milos put up of Lee Haney and Samson side by side? Yeah. I do think Samson's like a modern day Lee Haney. Yeah. Similar structure. It's a very similar look. Xelton, Xeltn. Is Samson with a Phil Heath, Ronnie Coleman tier back unbeatable? I still think I want to see better separation on Samson too. Deeper, clearer separation. It makes it look like his condition isn't as good as it is. He's super lean. I've seen him up close. He's shredded, but on stage, I'd like to see clearer separations because Andrew has more clear cut separations than he does in most of the body parts. Yeah, just a little. We're nitpicky because we're always chasing perfection. Nobody's perfect. Let's see. Luke Duke. Oh, we're talking about classic finally. You think Urs could have won if he wasn't sick before? No, because I don't think he lost anything. I think his coach, Boss of Outlaws, Stefan, I think did an excellent job of restoring his physique to what it had looked like before the food poisoning. No, Urs needs a little more upper body, more arms, more back. Ramon needs more back too, but upper and lower body are more balanced with Ramon. I didn't see Ramon. I didn't see Urs close to beating Ramon. I love Urs as a person. I think he's got a phenomenal physique, but I had Ramon winning from the time they all came out. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't even a question. Kettle One for wheels. Sean is very complete, very good quality muscle. Yeah, Sean Clarita, agree. Anthony Venturosa, a pro, classic physique pro, now living in Florida or Jersey. It's Jersey, right? But originally from right here in Massachusetts. Do you think Rami will be able to get his quads separated? I mean, if he hasn't done it in 10 years as a pro, he ain't doing it now. If someone's lacking something for 10 years and you don't see any improvement, there's not going to be an improvement. I've never seen anybody go that long without fixing one specific physique issue and then suddenly fix it. I've never seen that happen. And he's been a pro. He's been top of the game. He's been a pro for 10 years now. I know there's speculation he fixed the divots with filler, but what about the quads? Great coverage. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what he did to those dents were gone. I don't know what they were, and I don't know how he fixed them. Another Rami mystery. What were those dents? How did he fix them? Why didn't he go to Pittsburgh? We got 3 Rami mysteries going, guys, and I have no clue the answer of any of those 3. It's total mystery. Mark, the Mr. Olympias used to set a standard. Lee Haney, Dorian, and Coleman all had the 5'11". Yeah, they were all 5'11". Wide shoulders, narrow hips, short torso. I wouldn't say short torso, with long legs. Walker just doesn't have Mr. Olympia caliber structure. None of those guys had a short torso. I think they were all very much in proportion. Torso, arms, legs, really good structures. Great structures. You know, who else had a great structure? It was Chris Cormier. Great structure. As far as the torso, the arms, the legs. You know, these are things that can't change. You're given your bones at birth. They're the proportions. And they are what they are. So, Goran. What's Goran? Is that a character from something? Probably. Paxog, can't wait for this year's Olympia 2023. What a show that'll be. Samson for the win. I'm supporting him as I'm in the UK. Stranger things have happened. To say he can't win, I would never say that. I'm not saying he's going to win. I don't know who's going to win. It's going to be a hell of an Olympia. we still got defending champion Hadi. Got Derek Lunsford's going to be really gunning for the title. Nick Walker, he's going to be out for blood. Samson, Andrew, Rami still wants his title back. It's going to be pretty nuts. We're all forgetting about Brandon Curry. He's still a force to be reckoned with. He's still a Mr. Olympia. He was 4th place. He was 4th place at the Olympia a couple months back. So you can't write Brandon Curry off either. E36MN380. Obviously, Nick won't win the Olympia, most likely because the introduction of Samson and Jacked. He was way overhyped too soon, and it will take a hit now that he most likely hit max potential. I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I mean, the guy was 3rd in the Olympia. He took 2nd here he beat Andrew. So to write him off because we have guys that you throw Samson and Andrew in that sentence, he just beat Andrew. So I would not write Nick Walker off for 1 minute. Yeah, structurally, it's not the greatest structure, but nobody's perfect. Every one of these guys has something you can really, if you want to pick them apart, you can find something about everybody to criticize. Everybody. These are human beings. They're not Marvel cartoon characters that somebody can just take an eraser and draw in what they want to. It's not like that. Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio. Do you believe that Rami was overlooked? Or do you think his tank-like mismatched body parts are now obsolete? I don't think he was overlooked. There's only 10, in a lineup where there's only 10 guys on stage, nobody's getting overlooked. Steve Weinberger is the most experienced judge in the business. He's been doing this a very long time, like 30 years. He's been head judge for Olympia for at least 15 years, I think. So he knows what he's doing. He's not overlooking. He's certainly not going to overlook Rami, a 2-time Mr. Olympia. You know, he knows it's a respect thing. I think they could have given him maybe a couple more comparisons Friday night, just to appease the fans and to give him a chance, but they didn't. They didn't see him as being in the running for top 3. They did. Steve did what he felt he had to do for the. He's not. His greatest responsibility is just to judge as fairly as he can. It's not to make the fans happy or make any particular athlete happy. It's to do the best job judging the shows as fairly as possible. No easy task when they're all that good, trust me. Dane Kriesel, where'd he go? Kriesel will probably do EVLS again, his sponsor. Wouldn't surprise me. And he'd probably win that. I mean, who else is going to Prague? T-Maz, Samson lost the back shots, lost the side shots, and his abs are terrible. He was washed out, holding wires, started fading as the judges worked him. Look at the side-by-sides of Nick versus Samson. So T-Maz believed Nick should have won. A lot of you guys think Rami should have won. A lot of you guys think Andrew should have won. You see, you all have your own opinions. It doesn't make you wrong. No, it doesn't make any of you right. It doesn't make any of you wrong. That's your opinion. Joe Grind, Rami can't be overlooked. His physique is just unbalanced. Legs too big, shoulders jimmied up. That's what I said. Those two things were really distracting for me. He's massive, great structure, huge, but the shoulders, the way they were like squared off looking in the front, when he was standing like this and in the lat spread, like square. Shoulders are supposed to be round. It was distracting. His legs are too big. They're too big. Let's see. Alon Powers. No, he's talking about New York Pro. Carlos Jr. destined to win the 23 New York Pro. Alon, I've been saying that for like 6 months. So literally, I've said it on record many times. He's my favorite to win. But we'll find out in May 18th, I think it is. Nick M, do you think Rami had something in his legs? I've heard it mentioned but not discussed. By the way, I thought he looked great. If he had anything in his legs, I don't think it's for overall mass. I think he might have put something in those holes, like spackle. I don't know, because the holes were gone. Those two divots that were like the size of golf balls. They were matching, perfectly matching. But he had 2 holes in his upper quads, and they were just gone. All of a sudden, gone. So, my spidey senses. If I was a gambling man, I'd say they injected something, some kind of something to fill it in. I don't know what. I don't know, but all of a sudden they were gone. Stem cells did that? I don't know. Who knows? Alvin Capone, no relation. Oh, it is Al Capone. Alvin Capone. Arnold Classic competitors look more impressive than Mr. Olympia this year. It was, I don't know about that, but it was 30 guys in the Olympia, man. There was some awesome physiques up there. Do you think Nick would have beaten Brandon at last year's Arnold? Yes. Yeah. I do believe that. I think the way Nick looked here, just condition was crazy. I think that Nick Walker would have probably beat the Brandon Curry that won the Arnold last year, because that was not Brandon's best. That was like an 85% Brandon. And I'll give him like 92% at the Olympia. Brandon, to me, is never like shredded. He gets very lean and conditioned, but he's always, to me, looks like he's holding a little film or something. It's never as shredded as I want to see him. And he's got a beautiful physique, Brandon Curry. I love Brandon's physique. Mark, Walker is the modern-day Branch Warren, Rich Gaspari. That's not a bad comparison. Comes in freaky condition with less than ideal structure. They got high as second, but could never win due to those genetic limitations. Maybe so. And, if he never wins an Olympia, if he never does, Flex Wheeler never won a Mr. Olympia. Kevin Levroni never won. Sean Ray never won. There's a lot of great guys that never won an Olympia. Rich Gaspari, I don't know if he'll win one or not, but yeah, I could see it's possible he might always just take second or something. And, it's frustrating, I'm sure, but it still means you were second best in a planet of 8 billion people more than once. That's amazing. I don't know, Mark. I think Weinberger started judging in 94. So, yeah, that'd be almost 30 years ago, right? Yeah. Yeah. So when I said 30 years, that was pretty close. Anthony Venturosa from Massachusetts. For Classic, if Robert Timms can build his legs up, I think he can make a run at top 3. Yeah. He's got a great upper body. His upper body, you could say, is better than Chris right now. Maybe not as classic of a look, though. Thoughts? Yeah, the overall shape on Robert, to me, isn't as pleasing as Bumstead. Bumstead is just, I'm going to sound like a fanboy, but I think Bumstead's damn near perfect. Yes, his arms could be better, for sure. Biceps in particular. Not impressed with Chris Bumstead's biceps, but in like the side shots, they look fine. It's just the front double, they don't look that great. It's just a crazy balance of mass, shape, structure, proportion, and condition. At this last Olympia, Bumstead was the only men's division winner who, when they all came out, I was like, yep, it's him and everybody else. The Mr. Olympia, I was like, man, I don't know what they're going to do. Heidi and Derek both look awesome. Physique, men's physique, there's a couple different 212. It was more of a battle, but Classic was not a battle. It was Bumstead, and then it was like a fight. Everyone else was fighting for second, third, so on. Dave Thomas, Samson was a deserving winner. Perfect symmetry from head to toe. Okay, maybe from the back he needs to tighten up a bit. I really thought Andrew was in second in the battle for third, Nick and Rami. Yeah. After Friday night, Andrew impressed the hell out of me Friday night. I thought maybe he was even going to win. So, yeah. Mark, I agree with you, Ron. I think we've never seen Brandon truly shredded, not even once. No. And, the fact that he won an Olympia and 2 Arnold titles now, the fact that he's done as well as he has without ever coming in 100% rip tells you just how good he is with all the other factors. That round, bubbly muscle, the tiny waist, beautiful shape, structure. And if he can, like I said, you know, like not every Olympia winner has been the biggest guy or the most ripped guy or the guy with the best shape. It's usually the guy who's got the best combination of all those things, all those attributes. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna take a shower. I'm feeling filthy. I've trained this morning. I still haven't taken a shower. I'm sure I smell like a freaking billy goat. So one more. Nadeem, do all the previous pros have to pin at least TRT for the rest of your life? Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course they do. Yeah. I mean, you use steroids long enough, whether you're Joe Schmo like me or one of these guys, you destroy your body's ability to produce its own testosterone, and you're going to have to give your body a maintenance dose of artificial synthetic testosterone if you want to still look and feel, good. You could go off. You could use no TRT. You'd have erectile dysfunction, fatigue, depression. You'd have a lot of bad things. You have trouble losing body. You'd gain more fat. You'd lose muscle. It's bad news for many different reasons. So yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. I really need a shower. So I thank you all for watching. And again, Monday morning, please check that out. 9:15 a.m. MD Power Hour with Giles Thomas, myself, and special guest Milos Sarshev. We really went through the whole top 5 and really talked a lot about Samson, his prep, the win, why he deserved to win or didn't deserve to win, all kinds of stuff. It was a great discussion. So check that out. And that's it. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.